The ocean is full of creatures you'd never want to encounter. Take the piranha, a fish sure to leave you trembling. But it's not alone. Many terrifying fish lurk beneath the waves. From the deadly great white shark to the venomous striped surgeonfish, here are 20 fish that will haunt your nightmares. Number 20. Tigerfish. Tigerfish look like any ordinary fish. They kind of have stripes like tigers and are a favorite game fish in rivers and lakes due to how large they can grow. The largest tigerfish on record weighed 154 pounds or 70 kilograms. That's like a person. But their size isn't what makes the tigerfish potential nightmare fuel. They are often described as Africa's equivalent to the piranha of South America. Just like piranhas, tigerfish have razor-sharp teeth that interlock, and they are incredibly aggressive and capable predators. They also hunt in groups and have muscular, streamlined bodies that make them capable of some incredible feats. For example, the African tigerfish is the first freshwater fish to be recorded catching and attacking birds in flight. So now, it seems like they aren't just a threat in water but in the sky as well. What's the world coming to? Fortunately, most tigerfish species aren't dangerous to humans. However, that's not to say they all aren't. The Goliath tigerfish is not a fish that you'll want to share water with. They have been known to prey on people, with attacks on humans recorded in the Congo River. Number 19. Crown of thorns starfish. The second largest starfish in the world is the crown of thorns starfish, which experts often refer to as cots. It's beautiful, unique, and the subject of many studies. These starfish can grow up to around 35 centimeters or 14 inches, with some even reaching over 31 inches. Cots live in coral reefs in the warm waters of the Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Red Sea, East Africa, and Central America. They have up to 23 arms covered in spines, and each arm can be around 2 inches long. As immobile as they might seem, they're relatively quick, moving up to 20 kilometers an hour. You might think that the sharpness of their spines is the only layer of defense they have, but you'd be mistaken. Their spines also contain neurotoxins which are poisonous to marine creatures and us. If you happen to be pierced by one of the spines which can puncture wetsuits, you're in for a miserable time. You may experience nausea, infection at the wound site, and even painful and swollen extremities. So, if you see a pretty-looking starfish hanging out in the water, don't be in a hurry to grab it. It might be one that can leave you extremely uncomfortable for over a week. Number 18. Great white shark. The great white shark truly lives up to its name. It has many titles under its belt, such as being one of the longest-lived cartilaginous fish, the world's largest known extant macropredatory fish, and one of the deadliest. The great white shark, also known as the white pointer, great white, or simply white shark, is a mackerel shark living in coastal surface waters of most major oceans. They can grow up to about 20 feet long, weigh up to 5,000 pounds at full maturity, and live for up to 70 years or more. They're also lightning fast, moving through the water at up to 16 miles or 25 kilometers per hour, at depths of up to 3,900 feet. Their speed, size, strength, and power truly make them a recipe for disaster. The great white has the largest number of recorded shark bites on humans out of all shark species. According to the International Shark Attack File at the Florida Museum of Natural History, there were 129 alleged shark-human interactions in 2020, with 39 provoked and 47 unprovoked attacks. In the United States, there were also 2 great white shark attack fatalities. Ben Kelly was attacked 100 yards from the shore in May at Monresa State Beach in California, and Julie Hollowak was attacked 20 yards from the shore while swimming with her daughter at Bailey Island in Maine. Number 17. Muskellunge. Muskellunge, which people call musky or lunge, are North American freshwater predatory fish. They are considered the largest member of the pike family and can grow up to 48 inches long and weigh up to 36 pounds. Now, what's immediately apparent about this fish is how ugly it is. Its name even means big pike or ugly pike, which is saying something. They're green, brown, or light silver with spots and dark stripes, and they have sharp points on their tail fins and flat heads. But it's not so much their appearance that's the stuff of nightmares, it's their behavior. Muskellunge are ambush predators and apex predators where they naturally occur. They viciously bite into their prey after first ambushing them, then swallow them whole, head first. They aren't fussy about what they eat, preying on fish, ducks, frogs, rats, mice, muskrats, and insects. Rumor has it they can also attack small dogs and humans. While these may seem like exaggerated rumors, one became reality in 2020. Manitoba angler Kim Driver was wading in the Winnipeg River north of Kenora, Ontario, when a muskellunge attacked her. It then tried to drag her into deep water, but fortunately, she was able to get free. They are definitely the fish of nightmares, at least for Kim. Number 16. Stonefish. Stonefish are among the most venomous fish that we know of, with around 4 or 5 species within the genus. These include the reef stonefish, estuarine stonefish, and Red Sea stonefish. Most of them are marine, living in coral reefs, but some live in rivers. They get their name from their ability to camouflage as stones, which is bad news for people and prey who may not notice them and accidentally get too close. If you step on one, which is easy to do because of how they look, you're in for a really tough time. The stonefish is one of the most venomous fish in the world, and you can die if you don't receive treatment. They secrete potent neurotoxins from glands in their spines, and these stings are both painful and sometimes lethal. The venom can deteriorate cells and even lower your white blood cell count, leading to infection regardless of whether you've had appropriate treatment. The best treatment options for a stonefish sting are heat and antivenom. It's recommended that you apply hot water up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius to the area to denature the venom. Vinegar, available at some Australian beaches, may lessen the pain, and antivenom is helpful in extreme cases. Now it's time for today's topic. Whale watching is a favorite pastime for nature enthusiasts, offering a glimpse into the majestic lives of these gentle giants. Early one misty morning, a group of excited tourists set off from a small coastal town in Alaska, expecting to spot pods of humpback whales breaching and playing in the frigid waters. But what they encountered defied all expectations. As their boat drifted silently near a rocky outcrop, the sea began to churn violently. Suddenly, an enormous, strange-looking creature emerged from the depths. At first glance, it resembled a whale, but its grotesque features and dangling appendages left everyone on the boat stunned. The tourists barely had time to capture photos before the creature vanished back into the dark waters. Speculation spread like wildfire. Some claimed it was merely a whale with a mouth full of tangled fishing nets or debris. Others suggested it could be a mutant caused by environmental changes or pollution. A few even dared to whisper about ancient, undiscovered sea creatures awakening from the deep. Photos of the bizarre encounter quickly went viral, fueling debates among marine biologists and cryptid enthusiasts alike. Was this a natural phenomenon, a creature of legend, or something far more mysterious? For now, the truth remains submerged beneath the waves, leaving more questions than answers. Number 15. Electric eel. Electric eels are neotropical freshwater fish that can stun their prey with electricity. Even though they have eel in their name, they actually aren't closely related to actual eels. Instead, they are part of the knifefish order and are related to catfish. But eel or not, let's not forget the most important thing about them, the fact that they are electric. They have 3 sets of abdominal organs that can produce electricity: the main organ, hunter's organ, and Sachs organ. These organs fill most of their body and allow them to produce both high and low voltage. When an electric eel finds a tasty snack that it wants to eat, its brain sends a signal via the nervous system to the electrocytes that make up the organs. Sodium then flows through the now open ion channels, temporarily reversing the polarity. As this results in a dramatic electrical potential difference, it produces an electric current not unlike a battery. Surprisingly, electric eels can also control their prey's nervous systems and muscles, which means they can stop their future dinner from escaping. Electric eel shocks can obviously be fatal to their prey, but fortunately, they are rarely fatal to humans. In most cases, people describe the shocks as being very unpleasant, almost like accidentally touching an electric fence. Number 14. Stargazer fish. Stargazer fish are definitely among the most likely fish to appear in your nightmares. They have eyes on the tops of their heads, large mouths with large heads that face upward, and worm-shaped lures in their mouths that they can wiggle to get their prey's attention. These unusual-looking fish also ambush prey by burying themselves in the sand to leap upward, hence their weird upward-facing features. There are about 51 species within the Stargazer family, all of which are marine and found in deep and shallow saltwater. Aside from their unusual looks, these fish are also known for their venom. They have 2 massive venomous spines above their pectoral fins, and 2 species can also produce electric shocks. This is because they have electric organs made up of modified eye muscles. You would think that with venomous spines and electric organs to poison and shock you, we'd simply avoid them, but we can't help ourselves. In some cultures, they are considered a delicacy, and it's not unusual to see them in fish markets with their electric organs removed. Maybe it's just revenge for them basically being the meanest things in creation, as ichthyologist Dr. William Leo Smith described them. Number 13. Pufferfish. Pufferfish are kind of cute. There are dozens of different species, and most are small to medium in size, living in marine or brackish water. However, freshwater species are also found in Southeast Asia, Africa, and South America. As you can guess from their name, these fish puff up, but that's not why they give people nightmares. Most species are toxic and could actually kill you if you ate them, In some species, their skin, liver, and other internal organs contain tetrodotoxin, which is harmful to most animals. Yet, we still eat them. In Japan and China, specially trained chefs serve them as a delicacy, which is completely insane when you consider that one wrong cut could poison diners. The toxin inside this fish can deaden your lips and tongue, cause dizziness and vomiting, and lead to decreased blood pressure, rapid heart rate, and muscle paralysis. Eventually, the toxin paralyzes your diaphragm muscle, stopping you from being able to breathe. If you're fortunate enough to survive 24 hours after ingesting pufferfish, you will likely make it through, but most who survive end up in comas for several days. Many people aren't lucky enough to wake up. Between 2004 and 2007, 35 deaths from pufferfish poisoning were reported in China alone. Number 12. Flower urchin. While not technically a fish, a flower urchin is a highly dangerous sea creature that you don't want to have the unfortunate experience of touching. Found in the Indo-West Pacific, they can deliver hugely painful stings if you come into contact with them. They live in seagrass beds, coral reefs, and sandy and rocky environments at depths of up to 295 feet or 90 meters. The problem is not only that they're found in many easily accessible areas, but also that they look fairly nondescript. They have a pinky white to yellowy white coloring, short spines, and a rigid shell. They really don't look any different from most other harmless urchins, making them hard to avoid. If you touch them, you can experience an incredible amount of pain. Japanese marine biologist Tsutomu Fujiwara accidentally envenomated himself in 1930 and described the experience. He said that as soon as around 8 pedicularia attached to the middle finger of his right hand, he felt severe pain. It felt like the toxin was rapidly moving from the blood vessel in the stung area toward his heart. Tsutomu started feeling faint and dizzy, had difficulty breathing, and experienced lip, tongue, and eye paralysis. Muscle relaxation and trouble speaking and controlling facial expressions followed. Although he felt like he was going to die, the pain started to fade after around 15 minutes and was gone within an hour. Facial paralysis, however, lasted for about 6 hours. Number 11. Candiru. Candiru, also known by its more terrifying names of vampire fish or toothpick fish, is just as bad as it sounds. It's a parasitic freshwater catfish that can grow up to 16 inches long. Native to the Amazon basin, it has a highly unusual and controversial history that has been the subject of debate for many years. Most people have heard of this fish for one reason: its apparent ability to invade and parasitize human urethras. The first documented case of Candiru removal from a human urethra was in 1997, but there had already been reports of it happening years earlier. The first report of such an attack was from a German biologist in 1829. However, he had never observed it firsthand, and instead relied on stories from locals who wore protective coverings for their genitals while in the water. Another account dates back to 1891, when naturalist Paul Lequant described a situation in which a candiru entered a woman's vaginal canal. Whether these historical accounts are accurate or not, and whether this fish truly can make its way into human bodies, would you really want to enter a candiru-infested river to find out? Number 10. Moray eel. Moray eels belong to the ray-finned fish family and are a family of eels consisting of 200 species. They are found worldwide, mostly in marine environments, but also in freshwater and brackish water. Moray eels have a dorsal fin that extends from the head and joins with the caudal and anal fins, and most don't have pelvic fins or pectoral fins. They are patterned with wide jaws and, just like the stuff of nightmares, have huge teeth that they use to tear flesh. Most people will recoil in horror when they see how moray eels eat. They have pharyngeal jaws further back in their heads that look like oral jaws with small teeth. When they eat, they push these jaws into their mouth cavity before clamping onto their prey and moving it into their throat. Scientists think they are the only animals to use pharyngeal jaws to capture prey like this. While eels are eaten in many cultures, moray eels are definitely not one you'll want to feast on. Giant moray and yellow-edged moray eels have high levels of ciguatoxins, especially concentrated around their liver, which can cause ciguatera fish poisoning in humans. People with this poisoning suffer from severe neurological, cardiovascular, and gastrointestinal problems that can linger for days. It doesn't even take much to cause it. For example, in the Northern Mariana Islands, 57 people were poisoned after eating only half of a cooked moray and its head. Number 9. Piranha. Most movie buffs will be familiar with the 2010 horror thriller film Piranha 3D, which follows a group of strangers trying to avoid being eaten by ancient piranhas released after an earthquake split the lake floor. There's ferocious fish, there's blood, there's horror. Basically, this fish will give you nightmares, especially when you realize that their teeth look sharp enough to rip you limb from limb. But let's focus on the real piranha, not an ancient one from a movie. Piranhas are freshwater fish from South America. They live in reservoirs, lakes, rivers, and floodplains, and are predatory fish that feed on other fish and plants. Their name comes from the indigenous Tupi people, with pira meaning fish and sinha meaning tooth. Here's a fun fact. Indigenous people sometimes use the same word to describe a pair of scissors. As you probably already know from what you've seen in movies, they have one of the strongest bites of all bony fish. The black piranha, in particular, has the most forceful bite relative to body mass, thanks to their large jaw muscles attached closely to the tips of their jaws. As vicious as they seem, rumors about them stripping a cow or a human body of flesh in seconds have been dispelled. Number 8. Manta ray. Manta rays are large rays and cold-blooded fish with triangular pectoral fins, forward-facing mouths, and cephalic fins in the shape of horns. One of the largest species, Manta birostris, can grow up to 23 feet wide, while the smallest, Manta alfredi, is still massive at 18 feet wide. Manta rays are filter feeders, which is good news when you consider that their size makes them capable of eating humans. Instead, much of their diet consists of zooplankton. Given what we know about stingrays, like Steve Irwin's death from a stingray barb to the chest, you might think that manta rays are just as dangerous. While it's true that they have a long tail like stingrays, they don't use them as weapons and are generally harmless to humans. That's not to say we've always thought that, though. They were once feared for their size and power, with ancient Peruvian Moche people's art often depicting them. Sailors also thought they were dangerous, believing they could sink boats by interfering with their anchors. However, in 1978, the general attitude toward manta rays changed. Divers exploring the Gulf of California discovered they could interact with manta rays and realized they were truly quite placid. Some divers, such as the author of Jaws, Peter Benchley, even had their photos taken with them. Number 7. Alligator gar. Alligator gars are ray-finned euryhaline fish and are the biggest species in the gar family. They are also one of the largest freshwater fish in North America, growing up to 10 feet or 3 meters long. These fish are easily identifiable by their looks. They are generally torpedo-shaped with olive or brown coloring and bone-like scales with serrated edges. If the thought of sharp scales isn't bad enough, let's talk about their teeth. Alligator gars have an upper jaw full of large, sharp teeth that form in a dual row, and they definitely put them to good use since they are ambush predators. Even though these fish are pretty passive and sluggish, they can turn from slow to a speedy ambush predator in seconds. They mostly eat fish but won't say no to small mammals, waterfowl, and turtles. To eat, they float just below the surface, wait for prey to come within reach, then lunge forward in a sweeping motion. They grab their prey and chomp down with their mega-sharp teeth, impaling it. Most creatures don't stand a chance against the alligator gar. Number 6. Red lionfish. As beautiful as red lionfish are, you wouldn't want to get up close and personal with these coral reef fish. They're found in various places like the Indo-Pacific region, Caribbean Sea, Brazil, and the east coast of the United States, and they are incredibly venomous. Their coloring makes them easy to spot, with white and red stripes covering their entire bodies. They can also grow up to 18.5 inches long, making them one of the largest lionfish species in the ocean. Given how noticeable they are, you'll find it easy to keep away, and keep away you should. If stung by this fish, you're going to be incredibly uncomfortable. Red lionfish have venomous dorsal spines, which fortunately they only use for defense when they feel threatened. Generally, their sting is not enough to be fatal, but it will probably land you in the hospital. When stung by up to 18 needle-like dorsal fins, you can experience pain, headaches, vomiting, and breathing difficulties, basically feeling like you're dying. Some people are more sensitive to the venom than others, so a trip to the emergency department is necessary. You may be able to lessen the effects, or at least the pain, by soaking the affected area in hot water. Most hospitals don't carry specific treatments for red lionfish stings. Number 5. Box jellyfish. There are over 50 species of box jellyfish that we currently know about, all of them getting their name from the cube-shaped structure of their bodies. But what you may not know is that, as peaceful as these jellyfish look, several species have stings so painful and potent that one sting can kill you. Newspapers have long described them as being one of the deadliest creatures in the sea and one of the most venomous creatures, and it's probably not an understatement. Since the first reported death in 1883, Australia has seen 79 deaths caused by the Chironex fleckeri box jellyfish. Most deaths have been children, likely due to their smaller body mass. The latest death in Australia occurred in 2021 when a 17-year-old boy was stung while swimming at a beach in Cape York and died 10 days later. Deaths have also been attributed to the Irukandji box jellyfish, which is about the size of a thumbnail. People stung by these jellyfish tend to experience physical and psychological symptoms called Irukandji syndrome. Fortunately, most people survive these stings. In the Philippines, however, up to 40 people die yearly from stings by the Chirodropida box jellyfish. limited access to antivenom and medical care may contribute to these high numbers. Number 4. Striped surgeonfish. Most people put trust in surgeons to look after them when they go under the knife. But if there's one surgeon you wouldn't trust, it's one that's a fish and just pretends to be a surgeon. The striped surgeonfish, also called the doctor fish, is a tropical reef fish that can cause deep cuts with its many blade-like spines near its tail. Surprisingly, these blades are retractable, so it's almost like this fish really knows what it's doing. There are around 79 known species of surgeonfish, and they live in tropical and subtropical waters of the Red Sea, Caribbean, Atlantic, and Indo-Pacific Ocean. Fortunately, they're not very aggressive. They'll mostly just avoid divers and will even move away if you approach them. However, they are not afraid to get their knives out, literally. Striped surgeonfish can cause painful and deep cuts that bleed profusely. They don't have venom or toxins, but some people experience muscle aches and nausea after being cut. Treatment options for a knife cut from this psychopath include direct pressure to stop bleeding, cleaning the cut, and soaking it in hot water. Scrubbing to remove foreign material is also important. In most situations, stitches are reserved for large cuts, but antibiotics may be necessary. Number 3. Blue-ringed octopus. Blue-ringed octopuses are 4 venomous octopus species that live in coral reefs and tide pools in the Pacific and Indian Oceans, from Japan to Australia. They are easily identifiable, even by those who aren't marine life experts, due to their yellow skin with blue and black rings. These rings change color when the octopuses feel threatened. In most ways, they look and act completely harmless. Blue-ringed octopuses dine on crabs, crustaceans, and shrimps and are pretty docile. They grow up to around 8 inches long. But if you think they're harmless, you'd be wrong. They are incredibly dangerous to humans because they contain a venom called tetrodotoxin, which is a potent neurotoxin. A single blue-ringed octopus carries enough venom to kill up to 26 adult humans in just minutes. Since their bites are often small and painless, not everyone who is bitten may realize it until they experience paralysis and respiratory depression. Often, those who are bitten experience nausea, respiratory arrest, heart failure, and total paralysis. Without treatment, you can die in minutes from suffocation. Generally, first aid treatment consists of applying pressure to the wound and performing artificial respiration if diaphragm paralysis occurs. Most deaths are related to paralysis, meaning that if respiratory support is available, your chances of survival are much higher. Number 2. Flamboyant cuttlefish. Flamboyant cuttlefish would have to be one of the most exciting-looking cuttlefish species around. They have broad, blade-like arms, for rows of suckers, and dark brown coloring with black, white, yellow, and even bright red patterns. They are definitely a beautiful yet unusual critter to stumble across in the ocean. They are found in Indonesia through to Papua New Guinea and even across northern Australia into the eastern Indian Ocean. Despite their small size, these cuttlefish are known for their bold behavior. Unlike most cuttlefish species that retreat from predators, flamboyant cuttlefish often stand their ground, displaying vibrant colors as a warning. This unique defense mechanism is supported by their toxicity, making them a dangerous meal for would-be predators. Scientists have also observed their remarkable ability to camouflage seamlessly into their environment when they feel threatened. Flamboyant cuttlefish grow up to 3.1 inches or 8 centimeters long and dine on crustaceans and small fish. Their size may make you think they're not a threat, but they can be. A toxicology study determined that their muscle tissue was incredibly poisonous. Research performed by Mark Norman with the Museum Victoria in Queensland, Australia, found that they are just as lethal as blue-ringed octopuses, which, as we know, aren't exactly innocent. Unfortunately for them, but fortunately for those of us who may worry about being poisoned, flamboyant cuttlefish don't live long. They spend their days over and near the bottom of the ocean and generally die by the time they are 2 years old. Number 1. Stingray. Most experts say that stingrays are docile, but you're probably raising your eyebrows at that because world-famous crocodile hunter Steve Irwin had a fatal encounter with one in 2006. He was pierced in the heart by the barb of a stingray. Then, 6 weeks later, an 81-year-old man was lucky to survive when he was stabbed in the chest after a stingray jumped into his fishing boat in Florida. So, you'd be forgiven for thinking they aren't docile. The stingray reportedly involved in Steve Irwin's death was an Australian bull ray that weighed around 220 pounds. They are one of the largest ray species and can grow up to 4 feet wide and 8 feet long. All stingrays have the same attack mechanism, which involves their tail. Bull rays have an 8-inch sting near the base of their tail, with a spine featuring serrated edges. The base of the spine also has a venom gland with a sheath covering the sting mechanism. When they attack, they only have control over their tail rather than the sting mechanism. Generally, the sting enters a person's body, and the pressure of that movement makes the sheath tear. This frees the spine's serrated edges and allows venom to enter the wound. The venom isn't normally fatal, but clearly, an attack can be. I'll be honest, any desire I had to dip my toes in the ocean or a river is officially gone. Fish that target urethras and others that can strip flesh from your body? Yeah, not exactly the kind of animals I'd want to share the water with. These creatures are definitely the stuff of nightmares. Which one shocked you the most? Have you ever seen any of them in person? Let us know, and don't forget to check out more of our fascinating content popping up on screen right now. Until next time, stay curious, and maybe stick to swimming pools.